Good to be with you today. Just a couple of announcements. One, this weekend we celebrate a wedding in our sanctuary. We wed Grayson and Olivia, and they start their life together, and we get to be a part of it. We're always excited about weddings. Also, next Monday night, we are having a listening session as part of the circuit that we belong to. The circuit is interested in what we share with the other churches, and so we want to have a conversation to see what kind of mission or ministry that we can share throughout our circuit, so we can do more together, right, than we can do apart. So we are hopeful that you'll be a part of that. So we continue in our summer series about discipleship and what that means, and how that shapes us and where that takes us. And we've been in Matthew, and we'll continue to be in Matthew this week. This week we're in the 15th chapter of Matthew. And it's an interesting story. So Jesus and his disciples are out and about, and the Pharisees come to Jesus and they complain about the disciples because they're not washing their hands before they eat, or they're not washing their hands before they touch other people. Right? The disciples are not paying attention to the laws of the scriptures. And so Jesus responds with this statement. What defiles a person is not what goes in, but what goes out. The Pharisees aren't at all happy with that, right? Because part of their structure tells them that all of these things outside of themselves are what cause them to be impure. It's the world that has the issue. It's the others around them that make themselves sinful or impure to be ritual. And so they put this barrier between all things, and Jesus turns that on its head. He tells them, no, it's not what's outside of you that makes you bad. It's not what's outside of you that makes you sinful. It's not what's outside of you that makes you impure in God's eyes. It's what's inside. Well, that's something drastically new, right? That our sin is not outside of ourselves. Our sin is within ourselves, Jesus says. And what harms us is not what somebody else says, but what we say to them. That in this reality of God's kingdom of heaven here and now, we're not so much worried about the harm that we cause ourselves, but the harm that we cause the world. That as disciples of Christ, we're called to be just a little bit different. Not to shield ourselves from the world, not to shield ourselves from others who make us dirty. Because Jesus says they can't make us dirty, only we can do that. And so as disciples, we're called to pay attention to what we say, to what we do, so it doesn't harm others. Makes it a little more difficult, doesn't it? Because we have to pay attention to ourselves. The easy work is keeping all these other people and all these things outside. The hard work is looking inside and seeing who we might be. That's the work of the disciple. So the meditation this week is, what's in your heart? Right? What do you need to work on in your life to be more helpful as a disciple of Christ? We'll see you soon.